Hi, I'm Jonathan, and this is Looking Up. Yesterday, we talked about knowing our limits and knowing that sometimes we have strengths when we ask for help and know what we can engage the battle on. Well, the story we're talking about is this 9-foot guy named Goliath who's challenging people who are shorter than him to a man to man combat for the victorious man and his nation to be served by the losing nation and that man to have his head cut off. Well, the young man named David, who's a youth, comes out and sees all this and keeps wondering why this guy is getting to call the shots. He's the only guy out there who's not afraid of Goliath. He starts talking with boldness and confidence, and the word gets to the king that this man is willing to engage, or at least have a conversation about it with the king. So the king summons him, not knowing who he is, and he looks at him and says, "You're just a kid, a youth. I don't think I can use you." So he says to the king, "King, I've defeated bears and lions, and the same God who delivered me out of those will deliver me out of the hands of this imbecile." And the king says, "All right, let's do it then." And he gives him his own armor. The king's armor gets placed on David, and it's too big. Well, Saul's 6 foot plus, and David's just a youth, not very big. And the king says, "Well, do that, use that." And he thinks he's going to go hand-to-hand combat with this giant of a man and win in the armor, and it's too heavy. And David says, "I can't use that." And the king says, "Well, you're a kid, you don't want armor, and you're putting our whole nation in your hands. I don't know if I like this or not." And he says, "King, I'll bring his head back to you." And so the king says, "Okay, go for it." Now, in our lives, we often have people who tell us how we need to engage in the warfare or the struggles or the challenges we face, and they give us all the answers that don't work because they don't work for us and they don't work in those situations. So what I want to tell you is there's a lot of wrong answers out there. And just because someone says it's going to work doesn't mean it will. And what worked for them doesn't always work for you. So you have to pass it through the litmus test, if you know what I mean. So today I'm going to challenge you that no matter what answers people offer you, that you make sure that they work for you, that they would be answers you would accept and would be willing to put in place, because some answers just don't work. I think you know that. And I think you just maybe needed reminded of that. Well, next time we'll begin to look at how grace comes forward in the moments of weakness. Until then, remember, there's more to be seen when you're looking up.